pleased to have this opportunity to say a few words at your annual dinner, the dinner for the Center for Hemispheric Studies, an important organization that focuses on the issues that affect our hemisphere. And you have made a wise decision in selecting General Jack Galvin to honor this year. Jack is an expert in this hemisphere. He was our Southern Command commander. But Jack has had so many different assignments, but one thing common to all those assignments, Jack has always been a teacher, an educator, which is what all officers should be. It is our responsibility when we were in active duty, and even as we are retired now, to reach back and down and to make sure that we are educating the youngsters who come along to replace us. Not only that, to help educate our citizens and to educate people in other parts of the world as to American foreign policy, as to the challenges that exist in the world today. And Jack has done that throughout his long and distinguished career. Jack and I really didn't know each other as well as we might have. He was a few years ahead of me, not that many years ahead of me, but a few years ahead of me. But it all came to pass when Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm came along, that Jack and I then began working on a daily basis. From his headquarters in Mons in Brussels and as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he and I worked to make sure that Norm Schwarzkopf in the region, in the theater, had everything he needed from the European Command. Jack and I would kid a lot because he's got a great sense of humor as well as being a wonderful individual and a heck of an educator, but he's got a great sense of humor. And I always used to worry about the Supreme Allied Commander Europe. It's the greatest title in all of Christendom, Supreme Allied Commander in Europe. And I would kid him saying, Jack, you know, you guys get over there, you become Supreme Allied Commander, you move into that beautiful chateau, and the next thing you know, you all think you're Charlemagne, and you all want to treat me as Pippin. And so that became a running joke that Jack and I have used unto this very day. And whenever we pick up the phone with each other, hey, Charlemagne, how you doing? Pippin, I'm doing okay, how are you? But he's that kind of a guy. He's a guy who can take a joke. He's a guy who has been a distinguished leader and commander. He's a great historian. He's a great author. But above all, he is a soldier, first and foremost, who always took care of the men and women entrusted to his care, always did his best in every theater or region of the world to which he was assigned. And now I'm so pleased that you are recognizing him this evening with your annual Perry Award. And Jack, I hope you enjoy the proceedings that you will see, and I look forward to talking to you in the very near future. Congratulations, my friend.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first let me thank Dr. Rich Downey at the Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies for establishing this prestigious William J. Perry Award. And for me, it's a distinct pleasure to talk about one of America's finest soldier educators and one of our greatest military leaders, General Jack Galvin. You know, I've known Jack for many decades, and we served together in both peace and war. And I'm honored to count him not only as an esteemed colleague, but a close personal friend. To me, Jack epitomizes all that is great in American leadership. He's a brilliant strategist who understands the breadth and reach of national security. He's also a diplomat, adept at forging consensus with governments all over the world. And finally, and most importantly to me, he's a soldier, once and always. And as Commander-in-Chief, Southern Command, he established and sustained the bonds of trust and mutual respect that are the building blocks of collective security. And then as NATO's Supreme Allied Commander, he led the alliance with vision and purpose, navigating the collapse of the Soviet Empire while meeting the demands of the coalition during Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm. But in a more subtle but equally important way, Jack Galvin has always been an educator and a trainer, building the Jack Galvins of tomorrow. Beyond his well-known work in some of America's most prestigious institutions, Jack was renowned throughout the Army as a teacher, trainer, coach, and mentor. Perhaps more than any other leader I have known, Jack understood the invaluable role that education and training play in capturing the full potential that lies within each of us. I'm gratified that the Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies has selected General Jack Galvin to receive the 2010 William J. Perry Award. There can be no finer choice because there's no finer man.
Well, hello everybody, and I am Jim Stavridis, Supreme Allied Commander, Europe. I'm the 16th Supreme Allied Commander of Europe. and I'm here today to honor one of my predecessors, Army General John Galvin, a fine and distinguished SACEUR. He also went on to become the Dean of the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy, from which I'm lucky enough to be a graduate. So I've always felt a special connection to General Galvin, who I also think of as Dean Galvin, head of the Fletcher School. He's the recipient of one of the most extraordinary awards a U.S. citizen can receive, and that's the William Perry Award. I also am lucky enough to know former Secretary of Defense William Perry, another extraordinary and distinguished American, and I can think of no greater award for someone like General Galvin to receive than one named after Secretary Perry. So congratulations, General Galvin. I wish I could be there in person with you. I know all of the former SACEURs, all 15 of us, send our warmest greetings to you. And as the current SACEUR, congratulations on behalf of all of us at Allied Command Operations and all of us in NATO. Thank you.
Hi, I'm General Dave Petraeus, Commander of the NATO International Security Assistance Force and U.S. forces in Afghanistan, and former aide man and hired pen for the great General Jack Galvin. I'm delighted to be able to say a few words to help recognize General Galvin as he is honored with the Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies Dr. William J. Perry Award. Now, I know that the Perry Award is given in recognition of significant educational and policy contributions to national security, and General Galvin's contributions as a soldier, statesman, and scholar have, of course, been many and varied. What may not have been recalled, though, is the role that General Galvin played in the guidance and education of numerous young officers for whom he was a mentor, a great example, and a true inspiration. Indeed, I was privileged to be one of those young officers, and I remain tremendously grateful for what he did for me over the years. In fact, there is perhaps no leader more to blame for the way I turned out than General Galvin. As he would affirm, indeed as he often does affirm, General Galvin carried me on his shoulders while I was his aide when he was a division commander, when I was a TDY Special Assistant while he served as the Commander-in-Chief of U.S. Southern Command, and when I was a military assistant to him when he was the Supreme Allied Commander in Europe. Of course, I'd like to think that he hired me the second and third times not just as a developmental effort on behalf of our Army, but the truth is I was never sure. In all truth, though, we enjoyed a wonderful, close, and stimulating relationship, one that continued well beyond my final assignment with him. In fact, our correspondence and his mentoring continued in between each of those assignments and for decades after they were over. As all present there recognize, I'm sure, General Galvin is an extraordinary leader, and his advice to those fortunate to have him as a mentor was always invaluable. The fact is that General Galvin has had a hugely positive impact in the lives of many of us. And so it's a true privilege to sing his praises this evening, and also to thank his equally wonderful wife, Ginny, for her great service and friendship over the years as well. Sir, as always, thank you for the extraordinary example, counsel, energy, encouragement, and friendship you've provided since our first days together in the mighty Victory Division at Fort Stewart, Georgia. And thanks for all that you've done for so many others like me, and for all those great units and organizations that you led over the years as well. Congratulations on this very well-deserved recognition, and Godspeed to you and to Ginny.
Well, thanks to Rich Downey and the Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies for letting me take part in this evening, and all the distinguished guests who are attending. Look, it's an honor to talk about General Jack Galvin. I'm just joking with General Vono that he's one of the two generals I actually like, a man of tremendous intellectual capacity, of wit, of strategic vision, also a hardened combat soldier, commanded a battalion in combat in Vietnam. But for most of us who worked with him over the years, I was a major in 3rd Infantry Division when he was the Chief of Staff. He was somebody that loved and took care of his soldiers. So it's a source of enormous pride for all of us to see him receive this prestigious recognition. Congratulations to General Jack Galvin.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again. And it is a great privilege and pleasure for me to be here at the home of General John Galvin and his lovely wife, Ginny, where they live right on Lake Jodico, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. General Galvin, the motto of the Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies in Latin is Mens et Fides Mutua, which means in English, mutual trust and understanding. And one of the principles on which our center was based is that effective relationships between civilian and military professionals in the security and defense area is a cornerstone of any democracy. Because your very distinguished career has been emblematic both of that motto and that principle, we are truly honored to present to you the 2010 William J. Perry Award for Excellence in Security and Defense Education. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Rich. That will have a frontline place in this house.
Oh, thank you, sir, and congratulations. And sir, our audience would be very appreciative of any comments or thoughts you have or would like to make.
Well, Rich, I think the center is a great idea. Something that we really need. So thanks very much for honoring me with the Perry Award for this year. I deeply appreciate it, and I hope I will live up to its standards. And I wish the center all the best. And I think that it was a wonderful thing for me to see that certain efforts that I made are recognized. I'm very happy about that. I hope I have set an example. And I thank everybody involved in this tonight. And I say best wishes to the center as it grows. Thanks.
Sir, thank you very much for those wonderful comments. And we are doing all we can to move forward in the vision of our founder, William Perry, with whom you worked during your career. And I wonder if I might follow up on your remarks with a couple of questions.
Sure.
Sir, you've worked and served in Latin America in a wide variety of positions, ranging from your time in Colombia in the 50s, where you helped found the Lancero School, through your service as the Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Southern Command in Panama. And I wonder if you might offer us some of your thoughts on some of the significant developments you've seen in the region.
Well, that's pretty easy when you have really one major development, and that is going from a threat of communism to the great conditions that we're in the hemisphere, throughout the hemisphere now. Just in the past couple of days, we've seen such change. Fidel Castro has said that maybe his financial structure won't work after all. At least that's what I read that he says. And then Hugo says, my system works fine. This is quite a change on behalf of both. And it'll be certainly one of the things that we'll take up with the center as the center moves along. other changes certainly are bound to be happening all the time. In fact, we have to realize that if things are not changing, they're stagnating, and it may well be that if you don't see the change is there, then it's passing you by.
Are there any insights or comments or reflections that you'd like to offer the audience regarding the way ahead as we face challenges here in this region?
First of all, you have to keep looking at who you are. Who is the center? What is the center? What is the mission of the center? So I would say that be constantly analyzing yourself. How are we doing? What are the successes and the less than successful things that we're on? You want to look at communication. It's really the whole thing that if you could sum up in one word what the center is, it seems to me, it's a center of communication on all kinds of subjects. Communication is an art. It's not really a science. It's a science, but it's built, the science supports the art. The art of communication is the ability to listen, and I would emphasize that listening can be so helpful, and we have difficulty in listening. I myself said to myself all along, I'm going to listen at least half the time, but I never did, because I was too busy talking. So listen. When you look at what the center does, wherever it goes, wherever people go, they go to listen, not to tell everybody what to do. And it'll be a key to success if you do that. We talked about change. The last thing that I'd like to say is team and teamwork and teaming. The survival of the human race is probably due to teaming. Teaming is power. So it has rules to live by. So I would say that if you can say, are we the team we think we are? How do we encourage the teaming in the rest of our mission? Are we aware of the changes around us? Are we satisfied with what we're doing? So those questions are the ones to deal with that sometimes get shunted aside because there are things happening, kinetic work, that pushes it aside. So take care of that, Rich.
We will, sir.
Okay.
But sir, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight in your beautiful home here along with Ginny. And once again, congratulations for receiving this 2010 William J. Perry Award for Excellence in Security and Defense Education. But sir, please know that it's not just all of us in the audience and all of us at the Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies, but there are so many of us that appreciate what you have done and the impact that you have had on the lives of so many people, not only in this region and throughout the world. Thank you very much, sir, and again, congratulations.
Well, I thank you, and it was great to have you here at the house.
It's a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much, sir.